Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk to you about how much salt we should really be eating in our diet. There's quite a bit of controversy out there. So I just want to address, how much should we be eating and what exactly does this look like? So the American Heart Association says that more than 75% of sodium actually comes, or 75% of sodium that Americans are consuming actually comes from processed, prepackaged, and restaurant foods, not from your actual salt shaker. So, how much salt should we be eating? At Dr. Docker's clinic, we recommend 3 to 6 grams daily, which I found is actually the same as the recommended amount by the American Heart Association, which is 2,400 milligrams of sodium. So, what do these numbers mean? 2,400 milligrams of sodium is about 1 teaspoon daily of salt. And then the 3 to 6 grams of salt that we recommend, this is actually 1 gram of salt is equivalent to 1/6 of a teaspoon. So 3 grams is about half a teaspoon, and 6 grams is 1 teaspoon of salt. So how easy is it to get that into our diets? We're going to discuss that a little bit more in detail. Before we get started, I just want to let you know who you're listening to. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Haley Gibson. I am a professional nurse and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. So I read lab work and am able to depict what's going on nutritionally as well as physiologically overall, and piece together a game plan for you or whoever, just based on what your labs are showing, how the patient is presenting. I can come up with a plan for you nutritionally and supplement wise to help you overcome your health obstacles. Down below that top picture, you can see a picture of myself at the mountain challenge and then a picture of myself with my fiance. We're getting married in October. It's coming up fast. All right, so let's talk a little bit about salt. What exactly is sodium? So sodium is a micronutrient and it's needed for muscle contraction, hydration status, blood pressure control, nerve pulse transmission, and pH balance. Salt is one of the most basic food seasonings in history. Salt has been an extraordinarily valuable food preservative as well. Many cultures use it to put on their foods and keep it from spoiling. Natural salt contains a vast array of essential minerals, and it continues to be incredibly valuable for health today. So, unfortunately, this picture is showing us today modern refineries have chemically altered most salt, making it hazardous for human consumption. Typically, table salt is composed of 97.5% sodium chloride and 2.5% chemicals such as anti-flow and anti-caking agents. Table salt is bleached and processed with excessive heat that alters the natural chemical structure. And this actually destroys those minerals in the salt that are good for our bodies. Hazardous molecules like iodine and fluoride are then added along with toxic substances like aluminum hydroxide. So this is used as an anti-moisture additive. So our table salt is very toxic for us. Actually, the body must sacrifice tremendous amounts of energy and up to 23 times the cell water to neutralize the damaging effects of the salt. So the inability of the body to effectively neutralize these substances can result in cellulite, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, kidney and gallbladder stones, and high blood pressure. So the right type of salt is absolutely key. So this actually shows you a microscopic image of what salt looks like. So even sea salt has been used, but unfortunately many of our lakes and oceans are loaded with toxic poisons like mercury, PCBs, dioxin, et cetera, et cetera. So oil spills can toxify a lake or ocean salt storage for decades after the incident, and there have been lots of oil spills in our ocean. Over 85% of all sea salt producers are still using a refining process for salt production. So we can't really trust sea salt either. Pink salts are one of the very few varieties of salts that have remained pure and stable Natural pink salts are known for their essential trace minerals and their ability to regulate cellular fluid balance. So if you look at the slide here, the different pictures, you can see common table salt. It's like a rigid square looking thing. And then if you look down at the Himalayan crystal salt down at the bottom, it looks more like a rock and more like a mineral. You know what I mean? I guess it's kind of hard to tell, but that is what salt should look like. It should be easy for our body to break it down and absorb the nutrients from it, and that's your pink Himalayan sea salt. So pink salt is often labeled based on its geography. It actually comes from places like Hawaii, Australia, Utah, and Poland, Peru as well. And contrary to popular belief, these salts do not elevate blood pressure. So they actually help us control fluid balance. So if you think about chemistry just a little bit, basically water follows sodium. So if we have a body that is working, it should retain sodium when we need to retain more water at our kidney level. And then if we're a little bit fluid overloaded, we don't need as much, we'll actually secrete more sodium and secrete more water. Our kidneys are very effective at regulating this. And if we have salt in our body that our body can metabolize, it's very effective at getting this done. So the type of salt is super important. And there are two things I really want you to get from this presentation, and that is the type of salt. We want pink Himalayan sea salt, and the amount of salt, roughly a teaspoon. I'm going to talk more about what that looks like in the diet as well. All right, so common table salt versus Himalayan pink salt. I just like this slide because it really puts it in perspective for you. So I said that 97.5% of table salt is sodium chloride and then 2.5% is additives, while pink Himalayan sea salt is actually 85% sodium chloride and 15% trace minerals. So table salt, it's depleted, it includes anti-caking compounds, and it likely contains added iodine or even fluoride. And then pink Himalayan sea salt, it's a good source of magnesium, which the majority of us are deficient because of the stress we have in our lives and our poor diets. It promotes a healthy pH balance of the cells, and it helps regulate blood sugar levels. It helps regulate the body's natural sleep cycle. So there's lots of health promoting benefits from salt as well. So basically, I'll just sum up this slide real quick because I'd like to talk about the more realistic application of it. Basically, salt is really great for helping you. It can kill off bacteria. So if you gargle salt water, it can kill off the microbes that are in your mouth and help stop halitosis. Kind of like if you gargle mouthwash, kind of does the same thing. Doesn't taste the same, but the goal is to kill off that bacteria. Pink Himalayan salt can even help drain bacteria and germs from infected teeth. So if you have really red gums, you can use pink salt, and this will help kill off the bacteria that is collecting in those gums. Receding gum lines, it's also really good to help get in there and kill any bacteria that are just collecting in there, as well as sugar. You want to make sure you're brushing your teeth well because sugar can collect in those pockets, and bacteria feeds off that sugar. And then acne, you can actually use pink Himalayan sea salt to get rid of acne, which is really cool. Basically, what it does is it helps draw out the toxins from your acne. So let's talk about the diet, what it should look like. So I wanted to break it down. What would this actually look like, this 1 teaspoon of salt daily that we're recommended to get? So I broke down my own diet, and my own diet consists of about 1,129 milligrams of daily salt without anything added, without my pink Himalayan sea salt. That is just my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That would include lots of vegetables. I like spinach and kale. I use sweet potatoes. I also use eggs, grass-fed beef, organic pasture-raised chicken, avocados, coconut oil, just to kind of put in perspective for you, coconut oil contains 0 sodium. Eggs contain 70 milligrams per egg, somewhere around there. Broccoli and lean meats, they also contain about 70 milligrams per serving. And that's actually 0.007 grams of sodium, because I made that recommendation. We want 3 to 6 grams of sodium in our diets, of salt in our diets. So the 0.007 grams of sodium is coming from things like broccoli and grass-fed beef. So there is a little bit naturally occurring in our foods. So where most people go wrong is they think, okay, they have to eat healthy food as well as bland food. Well, if we're eating healthy, a lot of times it's hard to get the recommended amount of salt in our diet. So I said I get 1,129 milligrams daily in my diet, and it's mostly vegetables, healthy proteins, healthy fats, a little bit of fruit, like berries, that sort of thing. And the recommendation is actually about 2,400 milligrams. That comes from the American Heart Association, which is about 1 teaspoon. So I'm about 1,000 milligrams, really about 1,200 to 1,300 short of that recommended amount from the American Heart Association. So adding a little pinch of pink Himalayan sea salt to my foods is a good thing for me. It does help my energy levels, it does help my muscle contractions, help my thought process. And I notice when I don't get enough salt, I actually do crave it, but I encourage you to listen to your body. And if you are craving salt, just use a pinch. You don't have to go add the whole salt shaker onto your foods, but just a pinch. You can add it to water, you can add it to your foods throughout the day if you're eating a healthy diet. If you're still eating processed foods, this is different for you. Let's see. I had a couple notes here I wanted to touch on. I think that's about it. Well, the DASH diet, we'll touch briefly on it too. So for people who have heart disease or chronic kidney disease, the American Heart Association does recommend something called a DASH diet, and their recommendation is 1,500 milligrams a day, which is still a little bit higher than what I get without adding salt to my diet. So the thing about that is it can actually harm your heart not to have enough sodium. If you have heart failure or chronic kidney disease, I do encourage you to work with your doctor on this. But if you're following the basics, healthy vegetables, healthy fruits, healthy lean meats and herbs, and then healthy fats, it's going to be really difficult for you to get too much sodium. And you just want to make sure that you're consuming the right amount and the right type of pink Himalayan sea salt. So you can still add a little pinch to your foods, give it a little flavor, because let's be real. If you start cutting out sodium so much that your food has no flavor, that's not a diet that you can stick to. So I just want this to be realistic and something you can stick to and something healthy that will not give you high blood pressure. It will not harm your body. So that's it, guys. In a nutshell, I hope it was helpful. And those are just some of the benefits of pink sea salt right there. So thanks for listening. I work alongside Dr. David Jockers. We help educate the public when it comes to nutrition and healthy lifestyles. We're also available for consultations one-on-one, where we can help you come up with a game plan to get your health back and overcome your own health challenges. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me at nutrition@drjockers.com. Thanks so much for listening.